Howdy folks, and welcome back. This is going to be kind of an interesting one because it's a part 2/update video to the resources video I had put out a little while ago. First off, I really appreciate the support and engagement on that video. Not only did it help me improve the game, but it also gave me insight into things I truly had not even previously thought about. So let's go over the two major complaints with the current iteration of the mutagen system. If you haven't seen the first video, I would go back and watch that video as it explains the concept I was working with in a more detailed fashion than I will be explaining here. So there were two major issues brought to my attention, and let me deal with the first. And that is, how would my mutagen system work with those who are colorblind? I'm using red, green, and blue, the three colors that, from my understanding of colorblindness or color vision deficiency, are the three major colors affected. Now, I'm not a doctor, nor am I an optometrist, so I'm going to try to explain this in as easy terms as possible based off of my limited research. At its core, my understanding is that if you're colorblind, there are a few different types. There's red-green deficiency, blue-yellow deficiency, blue-con monochromacy, and rod monochromacy. If you want to learn more, I'll put the Cleveland Clinic article I used to understand this better down below. What happens is that you have basically these cones in the back of your eye that, for lack of a better word, parse out color. If one or more of the cones don't sense as well, certain shades can become muted. This can make it more difficult to differentiate colors and shades. These are artist renditions of what normal and control, like our control, looks like against red-green color blindness and blue-yellow color blindness. Now, this isn't perfect because color blindness is also measured in severity, which lessens or increases the effects. The TLDR, color blindness makes it difficult to parse out certain shades, and I'm using the three main colors that color blindness can affect. And to anybody who is colorblind, I hope this was an adequate description from a non-medical individual with really no real medical knowledge at all, and just Google. If I got anything wrong, please tell me in the comments below because I also just love learning things. Anyways, so how do I handle this situation? Well, I could scrap the whole concept and come up with something else. Dumb. Don't do that. I could try to find three shades that would work with color blindness. Not really possible, as all color is made up of red, green, and blue, so all color would be affected in some way, shape, or form. Or third, and the absolute goats that are my YouTube comment section and Discord came up with practically the same idea, some form of symbology. So here's a thought. Each basic mutagen will have either a symbol, Greek letter, or just RBG on it. Then, at the bottom of the card, it'll spell out the mutagen cost. So, for example, we have our two blues, one red, and one green. So, at the bottom of the card, it would read B equals 2, R equals 1, G equals 1, or whatever symbology I choose. I love this idea, and huge massive shout out to commenter Aquology TCG. Their YouTube channel is in the description below, so go check them out, and Discord user Zymandius for assistance and honestly the idea itself. I will not take credit for things I didn't come up with, so truly again, thank you. This brings a second major issue, courtesy of YouTube commenter Nebula Purple and Verezi1. Again, while trying to solve one problem, I inadvertently created another. So, at least I'm learning what coding feels like. They both stated a major issue with the fact of the mutagens being physical cards causes a couple different problems. A, are players then required to carry an extra 60 to 90 card deck just for basic resources? B, how even would sleeving work? C, do players go halvesies? D, how would players know at the end of a game which cards are theirs? And finally, once discarded, are the cards then shuffled back into the player deck? If they're sleeved a different color, how would that even work? Truly, all fantastic points, and all things I didn't even think about. So let's start with the easiest one, shuffling things back into the deck. I never had any intention of players shuffling the discarded basic mutagens into their own deck. They would stay in your discard pile unless a card or ability allowed you to get it back or it was placed back into the common pool. So easy fix, let's move on. The rest of the problems sort of coalesce into one big ugly issue. And really, that issue is It's really dumb to have players carry around 60 to 90 extra cards just for the sake of resources. And I really didn't have a good answer on how to fix that. So I went back to the drawing board when, again, a commenter had a stellar idea. Now, for full transparency, I'd love to give this person credit. I can't find that comment anywhere. So if it was yours, please come forward. You deserve the credit for the idea. See, instead of having physical cards, instead they would be replaced with physical counters. It cuts down significantly on what a player needs to bring. There's no concern about it being reshuffled into a deck, and they can be easily moved around from one location to another. Each counter will have two sides. Each side will have the mutagen icon with its corresponding symbology, as well as it'll have the number 1 or 3. The number is hopefully self-explanatory, but I can link a counting video for those who need it. But again, this just cuts down on the amount of things a player needs to carry at any given time. This will require some wording changes and maybe a bit of mechanical changes in how the mutagens actually work. For example, originally, discarded mutagen was just that, discarded, and it didn't go into the common pile unless an ability allowed. Maybe instead of this idea of getting rid of the mutagen and only you can use it unless a ability says otherwise, is that when a mutagen is discarded, let's say when an ability is used or a fish dies, that mutagen would go back into the common pool. I don't think any one idea will be perfect, and I recognize I could obviously just have resource cards in a player's deck, but I don't know, man. I mean, it's been done pretty well at this point. I kind of want this design challenge of making it work well. Plus, it still solves the useless resource card in a pack issue and sticks to the lore that I'm sort of working with. So with all that, I think I answered the major issues. New ones will pop up, but for now, I think this is going to be the current heading. Scrap cards, use counters. I guess if you really wanted, you could use different colored dice as well, but that's a discussion for later down the line. Let's first get the game working and available before I start futzing with alternatives. In any case, I hope this update video helped explain my thinking. Please remember, of course, to like, comment, and subscribe so you don't miss anything, and join the Discord if you're feeling like it. And once again, thank you all for watching, and have a great rest of your day. Peace!